Mother was 78 years old. She passed away 1 year after the surgery. Serious illness is easily talked about. The fear of death is the real truth. Among contemporary elderly people, a new perspective on elderly care and the issue of life and death is becoming popular. For minor illnesses, seek medical treatment. For major illnesses, accept death. The meaning is to actively treat minor illnesses and calmly prepare for death in the face of major illnesses. This speaks to the last stage of a person's life. Rather than letting the disease torment both body and mind, it's better to choose a peaceful departure. This not only reduces the suffering of the elderly, but also lessens the burden on their children and saves medical resources. This phrase seems to contain the wisdom of a dignified death for the elderly. It reflects the elderly's open-minded attitude towards life. However, having experienced my mother's death a year after her surgery, I truly understood that when life and death are truly before us, whether it's the elderly themselves or their children who must make the choice, it's not so easy to accept death from a major illness. No one can be open-minded in the face of life and death. The fear of death is the real truth. In March of last year, my mother suddenly felt dizzy. She was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer. The doctor said that without surgery, she could live at most another 3 months. My elder brother and second brother had opposing views on whether or not to proceed with surgery for our mother. Since then, the conflicts between the 3 of us siblings regarding our mother's treatment grew more and more. These conflicts continued until our mother passed away. My elder brother never went to school. He always worked around the town to help support the family, so that my second brother and I could go to school. He only recently rented a pig farm in the village, and life had just started to get better. My second brother was a good student. After graduating from university, he stayed at a big factory in Shenzhen, where he earned over 20,000 yuan a month. He was also very independent, having bought his own house and car without any help from the family. My elder brother was adamant. He said that our father passed away early, and our mother had a hard time raising the 3 of us by herself. Now that we've grown up, we should give her the best care, have the best surgery, and use the best medicine so that she could live a few more years. He also said that life had only just gotten better, and our mother hadn't even had a chance to enjoy it yet. If she were to pass away now, it would be unfilial of us as her children. He said that even if our second brother didn't contribute any money, he would sell everything he had to treat our mother. But my second brother believed that our mother's age was too advanced, and it was unnecessary for her to suffer through surgery. Moreover, even if she endured the suffering, it might not help. The risks of surgery were too high, and our mother's body had already endured too much pain. He was worried that the surgery would only bring more torment to our mother, and it would be better for her to leave peacefully and with dignity. The 2 of them held their own views, refusing to back down. They turned to me for my opinion. As a daughter, I was supposed to understand our mother's wishes best, but I was also in a dilemma. When she was in her 60s, our mother used to say that every day she lived was a bonus. She had already said that she had lived a full life and was not afraid of death at all. However, after turning 70, her behavior seemed more like she was afraid of dying. My mother had a habit of passing gas. A couple of years ago, during the Chinese New Year, she ate too much, got overheated, and had trouble digesting. She hadn't had a bowel movement for 2 days and hadn't passed gas for 5 days. She took medicine for 2 days, but it didn't help, so she immediately called me, asking me to take her to the hospital. The doctor, after examining her, told her to continue taking the medicine at home and monitor her condition. But my mother refused to leave. She insisted on being admitted to the hospital for a thorough examination. She said something was wrong with her and that she was definitely sick. It wasn't until she had a series of digestive tract exams and nothing was found that she agreed to go home. After returning home, she kept thinking about it, still feeling that the hospital in our city wasn't good enough, that the doctor was too young and inexperienced, and wondered if she had been misdiagnosed. She even considered whether she needed to go to a big hospital in Beijing for a checkup. Luckily, on the 7th day of the new year, she passed gas, and the drama finally ended. Last year, after she had COVID, she always felt unwell. When I took her to the hospital for a checkup, it was diagnosed as sinus arrhythmia. My mother dragged the doctor to have a thorough examination. The doctor said it wasn't necessary, but she accused the doctor of being irresponsible. So, if my two brothers had asked me when my mother was in her 60s, I could have confidently said that our mother wouldn't want surgery. But now, I was no longer sure. After discussing, my two brothers asked me to explain the situation to our mother and find out her true thoughts. I still remember the expression on my mother's face when she learned she had late-stage lung cancer. There was a look of desolation and helplessness in her eyes. She muttered, "What should I do now?" and silently shed tears for a while. My mother looked up at me and said, "How much is this treatment going to cost? Are your two brothers planning to treat me?" I understood what my mother meant and asked her, "Do you want to be treated? If you do, we will sell everything we have to get you treated." My mother was silent for a moment. Then she walked over to a cabinet, took out a cloth bag that had accompanied her for many years, and handed me two savings books. She said, "There's 20,000 yuan in one and 30,000 in the other. I had thought of dividing it among you before I died, but let's use it for treatment first." My mother didn't want to die. I didn't want my mother to choose death either. When the decision of life and death is in the hands of the elderly or their children, it's hard for anyone to make a choice. Everyone is afraid of death. My mother said she didn't want to go just like that. She wanted to see my elder brother's piglets a few more times. She wanted to spend more time with my second brother's twin grandsons. She wanted me to take her on more rides for a few more years. Her eyes were filled with determination and expectation. My second brother also nodded in agreement while crying. In the end, my mother underwent surgery, but the process was not smooth. After the surgery, my mother stayed in the ICU for 37 days. Every day, we lived in anxiety, praying that our mother would pull through. The ICU costs were very high. During that time, the atmosphere in the hospital was particularly gloomy. Apart from discussing our mother's condition with the doctors, we hardly spoke to each other. My elder brother considered selling his pig farm. My second brother, who had a mortgage, argued with his wife on the phone every day. When our mother came out of the ICU, my second brother went back to work. To save on caregiver expenses, my elder brother and I took turns caring for our mother. I looked after her during the day, while my elder brother worked at the pig farm during the day and took care of our mother at night. During that time, my elder brother lost a lot of weight. My second brother used his connections to search for better treatment plans and medications, but the results were not ideal. Although our mother temporarily escaped danger, her body became extremely weak. Worse still, 3 months later, she was diagnosed with bone cancer. This news was unbearable for us. My elder brother and second brother began to blame each other. My second brother said that even if she had only 3 months, letting our mother pass away comfortably would have been true filial piety. Now, she was suffering even more because my elder brother had insisted on the treatment. My elder brother said that my second brother was just reluctant to spend money on our mother's treatment. He accused my second brother of not fulfilling his duty to care for our mother. But this was far from over. Our mother's bone cancer worsened to the point where her whole body couldn't be touched. She often cried from the pain. Even such a strong woman like her frequently groaned in agony. My elder brother still stayed by our mother's side, cooking for her, washing her clothes, and taking care of her every need. His eyes were filled with determination, as if to say, "Mom, as long as I'm here, you'll make it through." My second brother rushed back whenever he had a break, but his face was always weary. Our mother passed away a year after the surgery, reduced to skin and bones. No painkillers, whether neoprene, tramadol, or anything else, worked anymore. She died in excruciating pain. As her daughter, I went through unprecedented inner torment during this period. Watching our mother's body weaken day by day filled me with immense sorrow and helplessness. Watching my elder brother and second brother exhaust themselves over our mother's illness, blaming and resenting each other, left me feeling deeply guilty and heartbroken. Only when she had passed away did I feel relief for our mother. Reflecting on the year after the surgery, I don't know if we were right or wrong in making that choice. We did everything possible, but I wonder if we just made her suffer more. Our mother was so full of life and loved us so much. She couldn't let go, and she wanted to stay with us. But her body was frail, and no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't save her from the suffering. Now, whenever I think back to that time, I feel mixed emotions. We did our best for her, but I still question whether we truly did what was best for her. This experience has taught me that the fear of death is real and deeply ingrained in everyone. When faced with the reality of life and death, all the wisdom and rationality we might think we possess can disappear, leaving us with the raw and overwhelming emotions of love, fear, and helplessness. We all want the best for our loved ones, but sometimes, despite our best efforts, the outcome is not what we hoped for. It's a difficult truth to accept, but it's one that we all must face in our own time.